tool that Big Ear is going to be rolling out for our providers and the general public. And this morning, I guess it's afternoon now, we actually have an opportunity to talk with Glenn Hood. Glenn is the founder and president of Big Ear Inc. He's been doing this for, I don't know, since Noah was in Little League, maybe 15 years or so. Glenn, what got you started in this business in the first place? I know that you're a pioneer, that you're a guru, that you're passionate about hearing protection, but what got you started?
Well, I was looking at something, as you get older and as you become successful. I was in the automotive business for 25 years, and I was looking at something that I could do that, could really help and impact the world. And being in the automotive business, I had suffered a lot of hearing damage. 1987, I took an antibiotic and just instantly gave me tinnitus. So I'd been dealing with tinnitus issues, hearing damage issues, and I want to make an impact somewhere in the world, somewhere for me being alive, I could do things for others. So as I was looking at different avenues and things, I was riding my motorcycle and enjoying that. But then my ears started to become sensitive because of the wind. And I happened to be going to Sturgis one year. And when I rode up, I was riding on my motorcycle and trying foam earplugs, and they would pop out of my head. And then I tried a bandana, and just had all kinds of issues with it. So by the time I got to Sturgis from Colorado, my ears were ringing, and I was in serious pain. Tinnitus was through the roof. And I met a gentleman, and he actually changed my life because he made me a custom set of earplugs. And I'd never experienced it before, didn't know about it. And it was the aha moment. It was like a religious experience. It was just an incredible thing that I could actually go out and ride my motorcycle now in complete comfort. Knocked all the wind down. And it was just, it was something. And I was like, at that moment, I was like, you know what? This is an amazing thing. And if I can this kind of benefit, then I think the world should know about it. And that was actually that moment that happened. And it was a big transition, moving from doing very, very well in the automotive business to a new niche that nobody knew anything about. Generally, they don't know anything about. We all, as a group, weren't really protecting our hearing at all. Didn't know what the causational effect of that was. And that's really what got me started. And I spent a year researching it and looking at the market and looking where I could make the biggest impact. I had a very big interest in motorcycles. I saw a big need in the motorcycle world. So, I learned a long time ago, you need to grow where you're planted. So that's what I did, is we started in the motorcycle world. And so I started bringing hearing protection to motorcycle riders.
Okay, but that's not what you're doing now. I mean, you still do that, but you've morphed onto the industrial side, which is something that OSHA has been all over for years, but there's been more talk than passion, and more talk than solutions. And so what got you into that part of the business?
Yeah, so we've known for a long time that it is a very noisy world out there, and it's very difficult to find the right protection. Foam plugs have been around a long time. Started with silicone, then I went to foam, and there's still issues. There's one thing that we know 100%. The only hearing protection that works is one that someone will wear. And the problem is when you really dive into industrial, people have to wear hearing protection in loud factories, in loud environments, but they cheat them. They'll only have the earplug kind of in, and you can't really tell that when you walk around as a supervisor. Where you see it at is you see the standard threshold shifts of people losing their hearing. And when I looked at the industrial part of it, I could see that I could take the things that I learned from the motorcycle world, because it's much more intense than industrial. You're not allowed to get away with the kind of decibels that you can create on a motorcycle. You can get up to 115, 118, 20 decibels riding a motorcycle from the wind and the wind tip vortices that come off mirrors and GPSs and windshields. And so that's not allowed to be in a workplace. Mining is not that loud. So I knew that I was coming from a very strong position, and people are trying to manage 9,500 decibel areas. So I knew that I could really make a difference in that world. So we looked into it, and I was correct. We created products and invented products to fix niche areas. And in industrial, the problem with industrial, and this is the problem, is 90% of all industrial applications are overprotected. So it was, one thing was getting hearing conservation programs in place and understanding that and training them and giving them a choice between muffs and earplugs and learning that. But then the other thing then is, okay, so now you're protected, but you only needed to be protected at, say, 10 decibels. Well, because earplugs are generic and it requires you to know how to put them in and take them out and then put them back in again, and you're doing that 8 or 10 times a day for all your different breaks and going to the bathroom and that kind of thing, you're never getting earplugs in correctly. And when you use custom, every single time you put them in, it's exactly the same. So if you're in if you're in a 90 decibel reduction area and you have to be in a hearing conservation program, you only need to be protected 5 decibels. So if you use a foam earplug, you're 25, 30 decibel reduction. So you're occluded, which means you're separated from the outside. You're blocked up. And a lot of people don't like that. And they need to be able to talk to coworkers. So it really worked out really well in the industrial application as we're refining it now. It's not just a shotgun thing anymore. Now we're trying to get into the human element of it. You know, it's like you're getting combat pay to have to be tortured, because if you've ever worn a foam earplug, it's a very torturous event. It's not something that's fun. It's not something that's simple, and you have to really get used to wearing foam earplugs.
Okay, so you keep talking about custom earplugs, and that word means different things to different people. What is a custom earplug?
Yeah, so the coolest thing is there's not many people that really have custom anything. I mean, you could talk about a custom car, which might be a paint job or you added rims to it or something like that. But a custom earplug is actually when you have an individual, and the other bad thing is people think that the hole in your ear is round, and you take a round earplug and you roll it up and you put it in your ear. Well, earplugs aren't round and they don't go straight inside your head. Everybody has different ways that earplugs go in. People have earplugs, ear canals that come in straight up like this, twisted, large on the inside. There's so many different configurations of ears, and yet they say, here, we have small, medium, and large. Use these, make one of these work. And the problem is first of all, what kind of ear canals do you have? People don't know. Custom is we actually set the person down, we look at their ear, and then we make a complete perfect mold using our medical grade silicone of their ear. So it's shaped exactly for them, for that person, which means when they take them in and out, it's merely just placing it back in your ear so that it's a perfect fit, which means it's comfortable to wear for an extended period of time. And it's just really comfortable to wear for a long period of time. And then you can adjust things. You can put filters in them. You can put vents in them. You can do all kinds of great things to make that, not only that custom product that fits you perfectly, but then customize it for your noisy environment, whatever you'd like to do.
So how long does one of these custom things last, and about how much do they cost? If I had a workplace, excuse me, with 10 employees, what would it cost me to fit them all out with custom?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And when we deal with companies, we deal with Boeing and Gulfstream and General Electric and Habested, and I mean, we could name drop for quite a long time of the factories we've helped. It's about getting a budget, but it's about what kind of product is going to best suit your workforce. First, what's the budget? Do you want to have so there's 2 different products. There's a product that's made on site that we're able to deliver them the next day. So like Sealed Air, perfect example, great public stock company. I love Sealed Air. And I was really surprised to see how much Sealed Air products out there. But Sealed Air, they wanted a solution. They used custom hair protection. But their solution is they would have to send their employee down the road, it was about 7 miles, to an audiologist, set an appointment, go in, see the audiologist, have an impression made at the audiologist's office. Then they would send it out to the lab, and then the lab would send it back in 3 weeks or 4 weeks. And then was there a fit issue, was not a fit issue. And so the time cycle was a long time. And that product's about $165, $175 plus $45 to $50 for the audiologist fee. So you're in it for about $225. Well, they'd been making custom for a long time. They've probably 15 years. They've been one of the first early adopters. And so they invited us in because we have two solutions. One solution is we can come in and we do whatever shift your employees are on. We can come in the morning, come in at mid-afternoon, come in at night. And what we did was we'd come in the morning and then come in at night. And in the morning shift, we'd make your earplugs. And then we would finish them and then we'd deliver them back the next day. So they were instantly being able to have a product without the employee going anywhere. We did it at their lunch breaks. We did it at their working breaks. And they would just come in because it only takes 5 minutes. The whole process is only 5 minutes. And then they come back and it takes about a minute to deliver and make sure that they fit very well. And then what we do is then we schedule back another time for the following month to make sure there's any fit issues or any lanyard problems or anything like that. So it's a great process. And like I said, there's two different products. There's the one that we made on site, which we just talked about there, and then there's another one that we do for Gulfstream jets and so many others. It's a laboratory product. It's a little bit prettier. The fit and everything is still the same, but it's just prettier, nicer product, more expensive. It's almost it's like $165 basically for the basic one. And we come in, we sit them down, we take the impression of the ear, but instead of turning the impression into an earplug, we send the impression to the lab. And then we build that product for them. And those are for more high tactical products, like a tactical earpiece that they need to be able to listen to the radio, double vented earplugs. So whatever the situation is, a lot of times doing a laboratory product, you can solve the problem more efficiently and better.
Well, we're about the end of our time here with you, Glenn, but I want to move from industry just a minute. You know, we live in a noisy world. And so how do I protect myself when I'm cutting grass, or when I go to a rock concert, or when I'm climbing limbs with my chainsaw? How do I protect myself at home?
Yeah, so the first thing about it is education. You have to think about it. You have to realize we're going to be, and even, I mean, I've been doing this for 15 years, and I will even still find myself going to Buffalo Wild Wings to watch a UFC fight, or watching a football game. And it gets so loud in there that, you know, my ears I'm becoming more sensitive now because my tinnitus is ringing so bad and my hearing's going. I wear hearing aids and not in Buffalo Wild Wings. But I even forget to take hearing protection with me. But the biggest thing then is identifying it and trying to do anything, stuff tissue or anything for me to further prevent my tinnitus. But the first steps are awareness, understanding, wow, this really is loud, and that anything over 85 decibels really starts to do irreversible damage. So the first thing is awareness. And we provide a free app for sound level meters, which you can get down here below, that you can download into your iPhone or your Android, and you just start to pay attention to things. We were just in the IMAX movie the other day watching Dunkirk. It averaged 106 decibels for the entire length of the movie. That was an average. It went up to 112, went as low as 98. Extremely loud. But people don't realize that's louder than your workplace, and you're already in a damaged area for sound intensity. And it depends on. There's another thing that you ought to become aware of, and that is there's over 200 medications that cause hearing damage. So, and you can get that report down here too. Just click on the free report and get that as well. But there's over 200 medications that can cause hearing damage or tinnitus. I got mine from Floxin, which was an antibiotic that a friend of mine gave me, and instantly I had tinnitus. So there's so much to learn, but it's about education. And it's real fast education. It's about awareness.
So talking about education, I think most people don't understand the basics of noise, that hearing damage kind of creeps up on you.
It does. and it's cumulative. Now, so when I got into the business, I was in the transmission business, and I wasn't in the kind of hearing. I learned these things, which I was never taught this in school. And what I learned was just the basic things, when you hear massive sound, to get out of it or to get protected and then stay in it, because then it doesn't matter. So it's about education, and that's what we need to have done. That's what I'm here to do, is just to help people become aware, to understand it, and then take responsibility, and then they can wear their seatbelt or not wear their seatbelt. We're not trying to force anybody into anything, but when you become aware and you realize, holy cow, I don't want to get to be really old and get hearing aids, and I want to have my hearing for as long as I can. So it's just making those little step precautions. But the problem is, Steve, is where we're learning this at. It's like a real quiet subject until it's not anymore. And then you have tinnitus and it's not quiet anymore and it's not funny. We lose a lot of people to suicide because the onset of tinnitus is probably one of the scariest things you'll ever deal with, because it's an alien that invades your head and it never shuts up and never stops. And Elliot Berger did a great tinnitus experiment when he went at a lecture that I saw him at, and he's one of the greats that spread so much awareness on hearing conservation. And he had a box that created the tinnitus sound. And when you come in the room, there was the noise. And when I was already in the room, and when he turned it on, I knew exactly what it was. But people come in and are like, "Oh my God, what is that?" Well, if you don't have tinnitus, you're not suffering from it. But once you have it, you know that it's not a joke. And within 5 minutes, everybody was really, 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 really bothered by that sound, and they wanted him to stop that. Well, he turned it off for probably 3/4 of the room, but for the quarter of us in that room, it didn't stop. The sound was still there. So that's why I'm driven to at least educate people. And it's a long process. It's kind of a one-off thing.
Well, one of the reasons that I wanted to talk to you, Glenn, today is that I did go to your website, bigearinc.com. Not only is there a lot of information, but what caught my attention was your statement there that hearing damage, it's cumulative, it's irreversible. In other words, it doesn't get any better, and it's totally preventable. And that got my attention. And I want to encourage those folks who have had an opportunity to hear you today to just go to the website. There's a wealth of information there, and that they need to be aware of it. Like you say, education is a big key. So any last minute thoughts before we close this out, Glenn?
I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity of sharing this, and hopefully we can touch one person, because it's the old starfish story. We're here to save starfish one at a time. And that one person gets into the pond ripple to where it's like throwing the pebble in the pond. One person helps tell other people, and that's what we're trying to affect. That's what we're trying to do, is help make that change. Just the awareness.
Well, thanks for your time this afternoon, Glenn. And for those who have listened in, we'll be doing this again with other pointed topics about hearing protection and tools and techniques and things like that. So tune in and catch the next one. Till then, this is Steve Weber signing off.
Thank you, Steve.